community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more Midwest Bank. West Bank.
The venue home with you with our hand-cut steaks, handcrafted burgers, and locally sourced offerings. Browse our wide selection, specialty products designed to enhance your dining experiences with cheeses, spices, sauces, and more. We also have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop into the Butchery by Venue today. Located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
This is the D-Back with Nebraska diver Reagan Hinze, 93.7 The Ticket FM.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Arns running the board. We got the host, Reagan Hinze of the Deep End here as always, and no Madison as she is onto greener pastures, as we like to say, on her new path, new career. So again, she will not be here with us. Maybe we can get her in for a phone call one of these times.
Maybe.
Just to catch up with her. But nonetheless, Reagan, how's it going?
So good.
Before we talk, apparently you're missing a vacation, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. My dad, my stepmom, and my sister and her 2 friends are currently in Hawaii right now. And I didn't even get the invite, and my sister got to bring 2 friends. I'm a little jealous. If you can't hear
there's
in
a
my
chance
voice.
that your sister would invite you? Like maybe you didn't even have a hope she'd spend one on you?
So, Dad, I'm very jealous, and I hope you're listening to this.
Well, if you are listening to this, you can chime in 402-464-5685, and we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Allo Channel 9 for our Allo subscribers out there. And then, were you in here last weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you all break down? Did you talk about your 4th of July story and everything?
We talked about road rage for like 25 minutes.
Do you have road rage?
I flipped somebody off for the first time.
For the first time?
Yeah.
That's actually not too bad. For the first time.
I have.
How old are you?
21.
So you waited a long time to get.
I have petty road rage. Petty road rage. So like if somebody drives in front of me and they get stopped at the light, and the person that's like, "Well, look how far you got." You know.
What did the person do to where you finally had enough rage to finally give the bird? Was it
so they were going like 80 and like a 35, and I didn't see them, and so I turned out in front of them, and they slammed on their brakes and they flipped me off. And I was like, "Dude, you could have hurt somebody." And then they I kind of boxed them in. I went 5 under.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as I said, petty driver.
Yeah.
And they passed me, and as they were passing me, they flipped me off again. And I was like,
in Lincoln, though, I will say there's definitely some petty road rage going on.
I don't know. I've said this before. I feel like people in Nebraska, like with their driving, I'm just so used to like Texas and like the speed limit doesn't matter. You just go traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like people in Nebraska just have like no. Oh, what is the term I used? They just have like not an ounce of urgency.
Okay.
So I just feel like, I don't know. This is just like what I've seen, because I'm used to going like 15 over.
Yeah. Where are you from, Texas again?
I'm from like a suburb of Houston.
Suburb of Houston. Oh, so you're kind of in that big triangle.
Yeah.
So the traffic is pretty bad. I imagine.
Horrible.
Texas, especially in that area. We're in that big triangle.
Yeah.
What is it? Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. Yeah. And then Austin's in there too, right?
Yeah.
Kind of in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be hell. Who's got better drivers then? Would you go with Texas or Nebraska based off your experience?
I'd probably say Nebraska, because they, like I said, they do actually drive the speed limit,
Mm-hmm.
which like is frustrating at times, because there are some times where I'm running late and I'm like, let's go. But yeah, Texas just likes to drive fast. So
I can see that. I can see Texas wanting to drive super fast. And then again, shout out to those listening on the stream. And if there was an echo, it should be fixed right now. I appreciate Big Red Boss for shouting that out. So we should have that covered. But again, 402-464-5685. Yeah, I will say, as far as like Nebraska drivers, I feel like for the most part, we have pretty good drivers. The only thing that really scares me is the first snow. And only in like Lincoln and Wayne, where you have those college kids that aren't necessarily from Nebraska, coming on. I'll never forget my first winter down here. We had a first big snow, and I think I was probably helping one person push their car out of the way every day home for that whole winter. when we just got an insane amount of snow because everyone would get stuck in my in front of my driveway.
Nice.
So I didn't have a choice. I
Are you
wasn't
at the
like
bottom
a
of the
super,
hill or something?
yeah, kind of at the like we're by the right when it was off 27th, and you know how the neighborhood roads, like the residential, they don't really clean those off as well.
Yeah.
And we were right there on the edge of like one of those residential roads and then 27th. So they kept pushing all the snow off 27th into our residential. So I needed to turn in, and every time there's a pileup of cars.
Yeah, the first summer I was here, so I was lucky enough to have a teammate like in my year that's from Lincoln. And so like every Sunday we'd go to her parents' house for dinner and stuff.
Mhm.
And that's where I was introduced to chili and cinnamon rolls, and it was really good. But they were like, you need to get sandbags for your truck because it's not four-wheel drive. And they're like, you need to get sandbags before it snows.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen, and I like spun out, and I was like, I'm going to get sandbags right now.
So with Texas drivers, you had that one big snow, well, not really, just kind of a frost, but for the most part, like Texas drivers, you wouldn't trust any of them to drive well in snow, would
No.
you?
No, there's like a little bit of ice on the road, and
I
they
feel like
cancel
they
school.
got the vehicles for it though. You look at everything they drive.
Not a lot of them are four-wheel. Like
That's a
if
good
you go
point.
in, the reason we have four-wheel drives in Texas is so you can go like on mud, not on snow.
Okay.
But like if there is any amount of frost on the roads, they'll cancel school or delay it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Since we're talking about road rage, what's the dumbest thing you've ever done that you deserved a little bit of road rage on your end for something like really, whether you pulled out in front of someone? I'll never forget. I'll start because I was taking my friends and I just pulled out. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just going down the wrong way on a one way, and then a car drove by me, and it took me to realize because I was like, is he coming at me on a one way? What an idiot! And then I realized when I saw the back of all the traffic lights that I was just going the wrong way completely.
Okay, do you ever have those moments where you're driving and you're just like vibing to the music, and like there's those moments where you're like, I don't even know how I got home. Like, were those lights red? Were those lights green?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was having one of those moments, and I was like, just like, I don't know, just driving, and I went through a light, and I was like, was that light red? Or was it what? And I just hear like a bunch of horns honking, and I'm like, oh, that light was red, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I've never done that. You completely zoned out and just blew through a light.
Yeah, I thought it was green.
No one got hurt though.
No one got hurt.
Everyone
Thankfully.
gets one. Yeah, everyone gets
Yeah.
one. I feel like, oh man, that'd be scary.
It was terrifying.
Did you turn the music off after? just,
Yeah,
like,
it was
white
definitely
knuckle it
those
on the way
moments of
home?
silence where like both hands were on the wheel and you're just like staring.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. The other one time, this is when I was younger. I'll never forget. And my dad had this nice. It was a rental truck though. That's the
Oh,
important
no.
part here. Rental truck. I think it was like almost not brand new, but maybe a couple of years behind, like a Dodge Ram. And I was wanting to take the side by side out. I'm a younger kid at the time, and he's like, "Okay, well, do you like? Can I trust you? Like, do you know how to back that out between my truck and Sawyer's car?" I was like, yeah. And there was a pretty big gap. And then I backed into my dad's truck.
Mm.
And he just comes out there, just has the huge audible sigh. And I'm like, I was going to tell you. And he goes, just go. Just take the side by side and go. And I was more scared to go. I felt like I almost wanted to put it in park and go inside into my room. But like, he just said, just go. And I was like, that's scary. If he's told me to get out of the house, that's after I hit his car. It's like, not go have fun.
No,
That
it's
means
just
get out of my
go find
face.
someplace else.
Yeah.
Man.
That was I've had some scary moments. And that was probably one of the moments where I saw the fear in my eye. I was like, my dad just has a good way of putting fear into people. Like, just very serious. He doesn't yell at you. I don't know, like every dad kind of has their different style, but my dad never yelled.
Is he almost like he gets quieter?
Gets quieter, and then an occasional blow up. And that one blow up every 10 years just puts everyone in place. It's like, I don't know why. I think it's just like he used to be a farmer too. It's kind of got that farmer to him where it's just like you just don't mess with those guys.
Yeah.
It was scary. I'm trying to think of more moments, but yeah. So that was always really crazy with my dad. What was the kind of like your family like growing up? I guess we haven't really talked too much about that. I don't think not stories where your dad's yelling at you or anything, but what was something that you guys did growing up that was kind of different? Maybe a unique trip, like going to Hawaii, but not bringing everyone.
You just gotta rub the salt in the wound, don't you?
Sorry, you came in talking about that and it made me laugh because I've been on the other side. We talked about it, but same thing happened when my family went down to Texas and
Yeah.
I got left back.
I don't know.
The Hinze family. What's something about your guys' family that we should know?
I don't know. I guess I have a story since we were talking about snow.
Okay.
So my parents got divorced when I was 10. So like my parents were freshly divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this big freeze and like school was canceled and me and my sister thought it was snow. And so we were like, we want to go outside. And there were like my dad made us put on so many clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 pairs of pants, 5 shirts, 3 sweatshirts, like the biggest coats we could find.
Because you're thinking there's like 10 foot of snow outside or what?
No, because it was freezing and we've never been in something that was under freezing. And we had like 6 pairs of socks on and all that jazz. God. It was crazy. I have pictures of it. But then we went outside and little old me didn't know that ice on roads has no traction. And so we have like the irrigation system in our house is like we have a ditch out front.
Yep.
And so like it's when you go through the driveway, there's like a little ledge so you don't just drive off the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was waiting for my sister to come across the street and I put one of my feet on the ledges. And the next thing I know, I apparently did like a backflip, like just falling into the ditch. And it wasn't cold enough to freeze the entire ditch, just like a little layer.
No. So you broke through that first layer?
I broke through the ice. And I don't remember getting to the bathtub. But my dad was like trying to take off all my clothes because I was like, what is happening? And my sister was like, But then I like remember just like getting in the water and my dad like has been born and raised in Texas. So he turned the water as hot as it possibly could go.
Oh, and you're supposed to
like
do
have
it slowly.
Do it slowly.
Yeah.
And I was like he had me sit in the bath like while it was filling up. And I just remember like pins and needles.
Yeah,
like,
that hurt.
It was horrible. But it's now a funny story that I fell in the ditch on the day of like the freeze day.
Yeah, that's not fun though. That'd be terrible. I've never actually broken through. I've had some close calls walking over.
Yeah.
Some of my friends like to go ice fishing. I've never been into that. But yeah, I've walked over a few lakes and been a little sketched out by them. Never fallen in the water though. What do you know the reason is for why you're supposed to start cold? Like what happens if you go hot right away? If you come out of body, text line can help us out on that one too. 402-464-5685.
I think it's just because it's such a drastic change in temperature that your body like has to get used to it first.
So is it just to reduce pain signals or does your skin actually get damaged too? That is a good picture. Yeah, you got a little bit of ice out there.
Yeah. That was on the trampoline, so like it was like frozen over and me and my sister were like, oh my gosh, it cracks when you jump on it. So then we had a bunch of but I don't know.
I wonder if it damages the skin, if that's why too. If you just go, because you just expand it, you get, if it's super cold, everything shrinks up, tightens together. And then if you just blast it with crazy heat and it expands super fast, I wonder if it like cracks and damages the skin as well. That'd be a good doctor question to have. Because I've never had too many instances like that. The only time my skin ever got super damaged was track. You ever get the wind burns?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Yeah, that's a Nebraska specialty. Everyone in Nebraska knows what a good wind burn is. Those hurt so bad. Doing those track meets all day, and then your lips are just permanently chapped what feels like for the next 2 weeks or the entire track season. It's just not a good time. And then you're doing the mile 800 running into Nebraska winds. Track in Nebraska, I feel like probably build some different athletes due to the wind.
Oh my gosh, yesterday. Okay, I was at work yesterday and like they couldn't get in the water because thunder and lightning and stuff.
Yeah.
So we were just doing like relay races and stuff. And one of my youngest kids that I coach is 7.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing so hard I thought he was gonna blow away. It was insane.
Did you do track growing up?
Yeah, all the time. For a long time.
What was your events?
I did 800 mile, 2 mile.
Okay, so you're the same thing I was doing. What was your favorite out of those? Because none of those were
probably the mile.
Mile.
I hated the 800, but that was probably the one I was best at.
Oh, really? Okay, I was the opposite. 800 I was the worst at. 2 miles the best at, but I like the mile.
Yeah.
The mile was like short and sweet.
The mile was like, okay, I can like almost coast for a little bit. The 800 for me was a 2-lap sprint.
Yeah, it's a 2. If you want to get a medal, I'd always used to say that, and it got me a lot more jokes when I was in middle school. But I always used to say, "We got another lap, guys. Like, calm down," because I knew I was never gonna win, so I'd kind of joke around when I was running. Because the 800, I just really never cared about. I always tried to get out of that event because it was just such a grind. I'd rather just do mile and 2 mile. So I'd literally tell that guys on that first turn. So it's didn't take it super competitively, but I feel like track's kind of a easy one to understand too, like where you sit in events. Like you'll get humbled really quick if you're gonna ever medal in that event or not.
Yeah.
Like if you go try out, pole jump or pole vault, that one takes skill, but once you break through that skill barrier and see where you're at and see what's medaling, like you'll know pretty fast if you're gonna ever get over that hump.
Yeah.
Was there an event that you wanted to try that you never got to?
No, I did pole vault. I always wanted to do the jumps, but I'm not fast enough for that. So
What do you mean the jumps? Like high jump or hurdles?
Like long jump.
Oh,
I did
long jump?
hurdles.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. I always wanted to try long jump, but I also was kind of glad that I didn't because I didn't want sand everywhere.
Did you know they have a blind long jump events?
What?
Yes. There's videos. They have it's I don't know what it's called. It's obviously for people with disabilities, but they do have one where it's like blind people can long jump.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of like I saw one person miss completely.
Oh.
Because it was like too loud in there.
Do they make the pit bigger?
It looked like it. Yeah, it looks like it's bigger, but I was just impressed. Like I only saw one guy do that, but for the most part, like they all do a pretty good job and they have like really good fun. Like they still know where the lines are, which always amazes me. It's not like they're doing it like they have different set of rules. Like they still have the exact rules.
Yeah.
And I'm always just kind of impressed. It's impressive like what your body's able to figure out if you lose one of those senses.
Yeah. Okay, I found.
Okay, perfect. Read this and we'll go to break.
It's really long.
Okay, we got 3 minutes.
So basically, when someone gets cold, one of the body's responses is to constrict the blood vessels that go into their limbs. This means less heat is going into the limbs and limits further heat loss at the expense of the tissues and your limbs getting cold or like frostbite.
Okay.
If you apply something warm to their limbs, your body senses that, and the response is that the blood vessels that go there will dilate, allowing more blood to flow there. The theoretical concern is that if somebody already has a very low core temperature and you start to encourage blood to flow to their extremities are even colder than the core, which will cool the blood further. And then when it returns to the body, it might cool the body down even further for a brief period of time, which might be just enough to
set in hypothermia and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. So you're actually going to get colder at first. If you are in a bucket of freezing water and you get pulled out and someone wraps you up in blankets, like you'll actually feel colder off the bat and then you'll feel warm.
So the pins and needles is your blood vessels dilating.
Yeah. Ouch. That makes sense now. Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up. Nonetheless, though, we'll throw it to break here. And again, if you guys want to join the show on the deep end, 402-464-5685. And we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Allo channel 951. We'll throw it to break on Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Owens. That's Reagan. We'll be back on the other side.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, you got any?
Yeah. Backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get, and
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station. station.
A lot of times, Mom, it may not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Ministry of Children and Families, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for the disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and test us,
you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nht.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to support in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop being me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Sometimes playing with a healthy fear is good because it makes you go, 100 out. Because the more tentative you are, I always told kids, I said, listen, if you don't like this and you don't want to play, don't play. Because you're going to be worse off and get probably hurt more by being tentative in your play as opposed to playing all out.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to the deep end with Reagan and Madison on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Lawrence pushing the ones and twos. This is the deep end. That's Reagan Hinze across the table. And Noah Madison, as before, like I said, she's moving on with her career as she finished up her time at UNL. And what's she going for school again? For master's?
Anesthesiology assistant.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I knew it was something smart. Something I can aspire to be back in the day. There's always jobs that, I want to ask you this. What was your dream job when you were growing up? Because everyone's got one. For a lot of guys, it's like astronaut, or a lot of people want to be zookeepers too, which was kind of weird at one point.
I wanted to be a marine biologist for a while.
You were one of them? There's a lot. For some reason, that's like a lot of kids want to be a marine biologist.
Well, they want to
see what's in the ocean.
Like, they want to be with dolphins.
Then you realize you're going to be studying like bacteria.
Yeah.
And things like that. And it's like, oh, we don't just get to study the cool animals.
Well, I think it's funny that I went from marine biology and then I was like, I want to be a singer. And then I was like, forensic science. Yeah.
It is a crazy route.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went from astronaut, politician. I was really shooting high. Lawyer, architecture. I was like, or Hear me out, mom
Radio.
and dad. Radio, and I'll just talk about sports. How about that? And you're like, we'll see. Are you sure about that? Because I'll give my parents credit. That's always one where it's always tough to sell. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to do this, and fingers crossed, because there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
But luckily, this place turnaround internship worked out. But yeah, again, it's one of those things you just kind of got to trust yourself. What changed for you? Why'd you? Is it just like you lost the passion for it, or is it because like you saw singing at one point in time? And then what's that whole journey like? What were those like triggers that kind of flipped you to your next decision or next major?
Okay, I wanted to sing since I like started choir. And then I went to an opera in like my sophomore year of high school. And I was like, all right, this is dope. I want to do this. And then my choir director in high school kind of ruined it for me. So then I was like, let's go completely in the other direction to forensic science. And then I was like, I don't want to be in the same lab doing the same process every day for 50 years. Like that just does not sound appetizing to me. Like,
yeah, you have to really love the research. One thing that I realized about like science is like you're doing it not to be the guy that makes a discovery. Like you're just part of the process that leads to the discovery.
Yeah.
It's like you may never actually discover anything. You've just helped, but you might pass before you've even seen your contributions.
Well, I mean,
anything.
for forensic science, I wasn't even the CSI track.
Oh, really?
Like I wasn't the person that wanted to go to the crime scene and like check it out and get all the evidence. I wanted to be the person that they gave the evidence to. I was the biology track, and like
okay,
so I wanted to find the DNA from the evidence.
That'd be a nerve-wracking one.
Yeah.
And that's one that I could never be involved in any of those fields.
Yeah.
Like law enforcement was never anything I thought about seriously. But at one point in time, like in high school, did high school ever make you do job shadows?
Yeah, I did an engineering one.
Okay, yeah, I followed a sheriff around for the day, and like I just did not like it. I was small town stuff. I was like, it's just kind of
mundane.
Like it's just people with like drug problems that are just kind of like, yeah, this guy's like once a week, you gotta tell him to get away from this building, stuff like that. And I was like, and then I thought, what would it look like if I went to a big city? And I was like, well, that just seems scary.
Yeah. And then I also realized like if I was the person that found the DNA on the evidence, I'd be the person that had to talk about it in the courtroom.
You have to be.
And I don't like talking to strangers as is. And I was like, nope.
Especially potential dangerous strangers.
Yeah.
If what you discovered isn't great, then you'd be a little more. Those guys have to testify in court?
Yeah, they usually call forensic scientists in.
That makes sense. You would need those guys to testify.
Yeah.
But I wondered if maybe could keep them anonymous, but the judge knows who it is.
No, usually you go in the courtroom and you're like, this is what they brought me and this is what I found.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
And like, you can't be like, he did this because this is what I found. You have to be like, or he or she, or I don't want to like be like, but this is, you can't be like, they did this because of what I found. They're like, they could have been here before the incident, but their DNA is on the stuff. So you have to consider them a suspect.
That makes sense. And you really wanted to do that for a while, huh?
Yeah. And I was like,
and then you're like, yeah, being in a lab all day wouldn't be fun.
No.
You get breaks to go to the courtroom from time to time. that'd be the upside, I guess. Man, what other jobs did you want? Was it those the big ones for you?
Those are the big ones.
Really?
Yeah.
And then right now, are you pretty happy with where you landed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. As long as I feel like as long as you have a direction, even if it like changes again, which for most people it does a lot in life. Like I know so many friends that got their degree and do something completely different already.
My mom got her degree in kinesiology and she's a math teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
The only people that like I feel like get their diploma and stick with their careers, like guarantee you're gonna stick are like your doctors, lawyers, and like software engineers.
Yeah.
Because those guys, like, why wouldn't you? That's like a 6-figure paycheck right out the gate if you're able to do that.
My friend from home has one more semester of school and he's an aerospace engineering major.
Oh my gosh.
And he's afraid of flying, but he wants to build airplanes.
You know, that actually could go hand in hand because he's that scared of flying. So he's going to really look at the X's and O's of these aircrafts because he's like, I'm terrified of it. So I'm going to do my job and make sure that, you know, these guys trust this thing as much as possible.
Yep.
That'd be a nerve-wracking one, being an engineer for that. Especially, I always used to think like, you know, back in the day when they're sending people to the moon, and right now we got, you know, Elon Musk, but a lot of those I feel like are just all AI. People aren't really in danger anymore. But that'd be so nerve-wracking to be the engineers of those and watch them go up in the air with people inside, because you have to sign off on that. Like, it's good enough. Like, no guarantee.
Yeah, and what if it breaks?
Yeah.
What if it explodes?
And which happened. I can't remember the name of the.
Was it 11? No, that's the successful one, right? Apollo 11.
I think so. Text line helped me out. It was super tragic.
Yeah.
But events like that, and then
the submarine.
Submarine one's a little different. That one's.
That one I don't think should have gotten signed off.
No, it absolutely shouldn't have. Like, that thing to me is insane. I'm not gonna, I'll make fun of the idea, but I won't make fun of any of the victims because that's a tragedy. And
No.
some of those people I do feel horrible for.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna trust something that's that expensive to work.
Well, the thing that got to me was, well, first off, they were using a video game controller as a control panel.
That's it too.
And like, I know enough to where the tube part, they use different materials that have different freezing points and different contraction points.
Mhm.
And like, that's rule number 1 when building something, is you use something, you use all of one thing. So like, it doesn't like expand and contract at different rates.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of shoddy stuff coming up more and more about how that thing was built.
Yeah.
And just like its safety features. Because it really felt like if one thing goes wrong,
Yeah.
like that's it. Like there's no fail safe.
Yeah.
If your controller, batteries go dead, like that's what you're working with. Like it felt like when you read how they put together and you kind of listen to how it's built, he's like, yeah, we found these at this place, we got this part at this place, it just sounded like very
they thrifted it.
Yes, that's what it sounded like. They thrifted it and they used like some really core strong materials, but it felt like the finishing touches were like a controller, a Logitech controller I can buy for $25 should not operate
At that
submarine.
depth.
No. And it is a little insane to me, the people that did want to go and see it. I feel really bad for him, but
The thing that got me initially was they were going down to the Titanic to look at the Titanic on a screen.
yes, that's it. Just on a screen that
Yeah.
you can just send it. That's what I didn't understand either, is like you can just send it down. Why not robotically and then just get the footage and come back up?
Yeah.
That'd be the same thing as sitting inside the tube looking through the screen.
Yeah. I do feel bad for the people though.
Yeah, I think there was like a sense of security just based on the number. You know, it's hard if you're spending that much money. It's almost hard to believe that it's not super safe. And I think a lot of people were. I don't know. It's just a crazy story that I can't believe that happened, and the irony of it, of going to see the Titanic and something that tragic happening.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to try to see it for a long time.
There were so many jokes on TikTok about it.
Oh, it was
like,
bad.
People died.
Yeah, and like one of the kids was really young too. I want to say
He was 19.
and he was kind of nervous about going on.
Yeah, I read something that he told his mom he didn't want to go, but it was Father's Day and he didn't want to upset his dad.
Isn't that horrible? Like, that's why I don't want to make fun of those people, because like I think some of them were aware that this seems a little risky, but everyone's telling me it's okay, it's safe, it's tested, and then that's how it happens.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know how much was it? Wasn't it like
$250K?
$250,000? Yeah,
per person.
If it was actually super safe, and like yes, they've done it like 100 times. And you had like what's the number you would do it for? Would
No.
you not care at all?
I wouldn't do it.
You're not? Okay. What about going into space? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Not really.
Really?
I don't know. I just like, especially if it was like the submarine thing, if that was like tested and it's been done before, and like that has been done before, but there have been hiccups on every single one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just wouldn't, like, you're looking at it on a screen. Just look it up on YouTube.
Okay, what if it's a better ship and there's like actual glass and it's still safe and you can like see it
Mhm.
live? You still out? I
Mm-mm.
would like to see the ocean floor. I wouldn't really actually care to see a Titanic that much. Like if we're just gonna go to the depths of the ocean and see what's down there,
There's
that'd
so
be
much we
cooler.
don't know
It'd be
about
pretty
the ocean.
scary.
There's so much we don't know.
A lot of animals we don't understand yet.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, like some of those, like I was reading that those animals, I guess fish at the very, very bottom,
Mm-hmm.
like they could be very unchanged by time. Like their evolution stage could be super slow because
Mhm.
what really needs to change for them? The sunlight stays the same. The weather doesn't really ever affect them because they're at the bottom. They're just
Yep.
feeding off of. So like you could have some real dinosaur looking fish down there.
That's crazy.
I know. It makes sense though. Like what would need to change down there? Nothing.
No.
Like species would evolve against each other, but that's about it.
Completely dark. It's
unaffected by the
almost
environment.
frozen water.
Oh, those fish that what are they called? But they got the headlamp on them.
Oh, the one from Finding Nemo?
Yeah. Those
I have
things
no
always
idea what they're
disgust
called.
me. Like those things look so gross down there because they don't need eyes. They just like have lights and then really
And like sensors.
yeah, that's it. And they just walk around so weird.
Crazy. It's crazy to think about how much like we don't know.
Mm-hmm. We're still figuring out stuff today, and like we're just reworking everything. I think that's a big part of human history is like we're just wrong a lot, and we have to do our best to like go back and fix up stuff because our first dinosaurs were so off.
Yeah.
And now we're gotten a lot better, but I still feel like we're kind of because how do they figure out the color of
You don't.
dinosaurs?
I don't think you
Are you
do.
sure? I think there actually is a way they were able to figure it out.
I don't know.
Or is it pure guess? Maybe we'll look that up over the break because
Yeah.
it is about time. But nonetheless, you guys can join the show. Topics are a little all over the place, but it's
They're always all over the place.
It's the weekend. We talk about sports Monday through Friday, and you can get that all at ticketfm.com. We cover everything. So if you want to hear Northwestern, NBA, college football, Matt Rule, all that stuff, ticketfm.com. But these weekends, it's kind of a nice change up to talk about just everything in between. But 402-464-5685, feel free to join the show. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. That's Reagan across the table. I'm Harrison. We'll be back after the break.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his...
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get, and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
And I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackanick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
To you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
Typically, you kind of think of Nebraska as far as in-state recruiting as might not get the skill position players, but you can pepper in some offensive linemen and maybe a linebacker here and there. This class is led by its in-state skill position players now. I mean, you thinking down the line, you could 3 or 4 years from now have Daniel Kalen lining up with Davon Holland, Isaiah McMorris, and now Carter Nelson. Those are your skill position.
Keeping the highly talented, highly ranked players that are in the state with you at the home state school is a step in the right direction.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. You know, their child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children take place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seating Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, we all do a little, we change a lot.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
How's it just cool?
Let me tell you, I had to get my cough first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I just text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back to the deep end with Reagan and Madison on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into the final segment of the deep end. Again, you guys can join the show, 402-464-5685. That's Reagan Hinze across the table. I'm Harrison pushing the ones and twos, and you can watch on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Over the break, we talked about it, but now I wonder what your answer is. So for all the listeners, you guys can join into if you're listening out there. If it happens, which they've been talking a lot, and it has possibility, who would win in a fight, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk?
I don't know.
Richest celebrity. That'd be an ego fest. All that money, all that power, and two guys going at it.
I have no idea. Like, I haven't even thought about it.
Mark Zuckerberg actually fights, which is crazy. Like, I saw a picture of him. Like, he does a lot of training. He's taking it pretty seriously. But Elon Musk is just a lot bigger than him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's really training. I think you'd have to give it to Mark Zuckerberg.
I don't know. I feel like it depends on, like, if rules are thrown out the window or not.
Oh, I don't think so. I think those guys would have to have some rules. I was saying it before, like it makes no sense that they'd even want to fight.
You'd think they'd fight in like the courthouse.
Yeah, like fight in the courtroom, which is what he's trying to do right now. He wants to take him over the court because he's owning Threads. But that's another thing. Like everyone leaving Twitter is always kind of weird to me too.
What? Okay, I asked my friend this because she made a Threads account, and I was like, I feel like a middle-aged woman that like doesn't like that was before technology and like is those people that's like I don't know how to work a phone. I feel like that because I was like, what is Threads? I've never heard of it.
It's like new Twitter.
Okay,
but I don't think it's better than Twitter. I don't know. It's like the same thing as Twitter, and some people are leaving Twitter because I'm sure you've heard like a lot of people are upset with some of the things Elon's doing with Twitter, like the blue. I don't really care too much about it, but some people do. Fair enough. So they're going to Threads. Which it's their choice, but it's just kind of weird to me. It's like if you go to Threads, then Mark Zuckerberg owns Reels on Instagram, he owns Facebook, and then he owns new Twitter. Like he pretty much dominates every single mainstream media. So if you're trying to fight that, that's like the total opposite of what you're doing. By trying to I'm not gonna give rich guy Elon any money, I'm gonna go to Mark Zuckerberg. If that's your point, that's all I'm saying. It's a little silly. But if you like Threads because it's cooler, easier to use, it's different.
Yeah, I've never heard
Have you
of
actually
it.
downloaded it or no?
I downloaded Twitter when I started getting recruited.
Oh, so were you pretty anti-social media growing up? Or you not anti, but just didn't care for it?
Yeah. I never go on Twitter. So I don't know what Threads is, basically.
Why'd you get Twitter when you came down here? Out of necessity or just to like promote yourself?
Basically.
Okay.
I have had Snapchat the longest because my dad, when I first got my the first iPhone I ever got.
Mhm.
The first app my dad downloaded on my phone was Snapchat because he thought it was like connected to your contacts. And so he took a selfie and sent it to a random person named Dad on Snapchat. And he thought he would get it. And he was like, huh, that's weird.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know anyone that's ever saw Snapchat that way.
I've had Snapchat the longest just because that was the first app on my phone.
That's kind of funny. That'd be like if he really knew what it was, that's probably like the last app he would give you.
Yeah. It took like a while for me to get Instagram, and that was the next one I got. And like probably the one I use the most now is TikTok.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok's the one I don't download just because I got enough Reels already.
Yeah.
Like Instagram Reels is pretty much the same thing, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they're just like 2 weeks behind.
2 weeks behind?
Yeah.
That's behind the trends?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to be on top of all the trends. It's those trends last like years. The music stuff always drives me nuts though. I don't understand why we have to have the same music track for everything. That's the weird trend part of TikTok that I don't, or not just TikTok, of Reels that really drives me nuts.
I appreciate the music on TikTok because it like has depleted, is that the right word? Gotten rid of like ageism. Is that a thing?
Ageism's a thing, but what do you mean by that? I guess if you're using it
in the music
correctly?
industry, like if you're like in the music industry, basically once you hit 30, it's really hard to hit it, like make a top charting album.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so now TikTok is like running up that hill, like was in the 80s, and
That's a good
now it's
point.
trending again. So like I appreciate like TikTok with that aspect, but I also don't like the fact that now people are making music just for that one clip that you can put on TikTok.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my counter to that. Is the only thing is now like a lot of the music, it'd be so weird to be an artist right now because I listen to podcasts every now and then. There'll be like a musician on there, and they talk about that a lot. How it's really changing the music market because if you don't have a song that has that catchy loop, you won't end up on any of the reels,
Mm-mm.
and
And
it's
you
like
won't be charting. And
yeah,
you won't make-
won't.
yeah.
That's how kids a lot of people get their music now. I say it all the time. You're going on the reels, you go in the comments. The first comment a lot of times is, "What's the song?"
Yep.
Isn't that nuts? How like a short, like a lot of reels, average reels, like probably like what 15 seconds.
Yeah.
That's gonna make your music industry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to the listeners right now, but I'm getting so sick and tired of Taylor Swift on my TikTok. Like don't get me wrong, like she's great, but hearing the same song, the same clip of her song for basically every TikTok I see has gotten a little old.
You got 4 minutes to tell you got to get out of here with Swifties kick down the door.
I don't mean to I don't like
even if you're
I don't think
trying not to be offensive, you're trying to ride that neutral line, like you're
I am not a hardcore Swiftie. Like I
Mhm.
like her old stuff. I will like listen to her stuff on occasion, but just like it's like every song that was overplayed on the radio, like it's now getting overplayed on TikTok.
Oh, it's getting played again on TikTok.
And so I'm just like I've heard this
Tired of
song
it?
so many times when I was little, like
Yeah, I feel like she's had a real reemergence.
yeah.
Because there's always Taylor Swift when she was popular, and then it became like the Swifties, and you'd never mess with the Swifties. That was always a big deal. And then they kind of like quieted down. And then recently, is she on tour again or something? Is
Yeah,
that
she's
why?
on tour.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't have anything against her. Don't get me wrong.
No,
It's
she's
just,
very
like,
talented, just
it's the
not my
same
genre.
thing with like the new Olivia Rodrigo song. Like it's the same 5 songs on loop.
Yep.
Or like the same 15 seconds of 5 songs on loop, and I'm just like I don't want to hear these anymore. It's more of that.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like the same way. Just like if you're listening to music on the radio, it's like the same songs.
It's the same. It's
over
the same
and
effect.
over and over.
It's burnout basically.
Mm-hmm. And it drives you nuts because you think that would over time be not very effective, and that they would have to change it up, but apparently not. Like you can just keep spamming the same stuff
No.
every single year.
And I'm not the biggest fan of like, what's the word? Just like pop music that would be on the radio. I'm not the biggest fan of that, so I don't listen to it very often.
Mhm.
And then that's all I hear on TikTok. So it just like
Yeah, thank God for the ticket because this is what I turn on. Like the radio music is not. It's tough. Like
it's just the same stuff you hear in like retail stores.
Yeah, it's exactly like that, and it's just not great. It's a lot of songs like Bang Bang's still on all the time. I can't remember who that's by.
The one with Jessie J, Nicki Minaj, and Ariana Grande.
Yeah, and it's just really cheesy song. It's like
I didn't mean to offend anybody with the Taylor Swift thing. I'm just like, that's usually what I hear on TikTok, so that's the example I used.
You probably did. They're gonna
I'm
find. They're
sorry.
gonna find a way either way. Taylor Swift fans are no joke. And real quick here, I do want to get to some comments. Shout out Gavin. He says, "Good morning, guys. Appreciate that nonetheless." But let's see. We're actually running out of time right now. Jesus, hours go by as fast.
Yeah, we
Like,
talk about random stuff.
honestly, those are kind of my more fun shows to do when you're just all over the map, because it's like you get a break from having to be super serious. Because when you're talking about sports, especially if you're talking about the Northwestern situation, you got to be serious and know what you're talking about. You can't just kind of go over the place. But nonetheless, it's been a good show, and I appreciate you coming in on the weekend as always. See if we get a couple more from the text line before anything came in. He's Probate agrees with you about the mainstream music on the radio. And Disco J Golf says Swifties are going to take that as an insult. You're both going to be in a Taylor Swift song. Congratulations.
I didn't mean to offend anybody.
Yeah, you threw me in there. That's what I'm saying. If you're talking about Taylor Swift, it's like you got to go neutral, or not even. You got to be positive. If it's not positive, it's an attack on her.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, we got to go though, because probably got to get out of here before they show up. So, nonetheless, appreciate you guys listening and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.